Welcome to another episode of the Multi-Millionaire series. When people hit their 60s, they say that life just goes downhill from there, their health and their fitness especially. Well, today I'm sitting with Dr. James Chia, who's fitter and healthier than ever at 69 years old and is scaling to new heights. James, thank you so much for being on our show. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. I'm James Chia. I'm 69 years old. I'm a Singaporean, married to a Malaysian, and I have 3 adult children. And recently I became a grandfather.
Fantastic. And how old's your grandson now?
Oh, he's 4 months.
Yeah, I just saw him just
today,
now. He's growing up nice and strong.
He is.
So James, I've known you for about 10 years now, and I've always been amazed by your success in all your different careers. Could you share with our audience what has your career been like and what are those successes?
Okay, sure. Well, I've had 4 careers, not 4 jobs, but 4 careers. My first career was to be in the army. I wanted to be a soldier. Okay? But I went to university first because I thought I'd better get a university degree just in case something went wrong. After I graduated, I decided not to make the army my career. But as a Singaporean, I have to serve national service. So I actually did serve in the army, in national service for over 40 years. Okay. In national service, I rose to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Then I also, in 1995, I was National Serviceman of the Year in the whole of the Singapore Armed Forces. Then I went on to win some National Day awards, military commendation medals. So that was the army part of my life. Now, my second career was as a civil engineer. Now, I worked as a contractor and as a consultant, and I managed to get professional qualifications registered in the UK and in Singapore. And I had numerous projects. I remember it was quite an exciting life. I had projects in China, I had projects in Indonesia, in Singapore. I traveled to France and Japan to work with our joint venture partners. But the problem is, when I reached 40 years old, I hadn't been on leave for 5 years. So that's when I decided to switch to my third career, which was in insurance. Okay, I did that because I wanted a challenge. Now, when I went into insurance, I had absolutely no network at all. I knew nothing about finance. All I was doing was engineering. But in my first year, I became the top agent in the whole of the Prudential. I became the top agent again in the second year. And then I went on to school. I did a Master's of Science in Applied Finance. I did my CFP qualifications, and I also qualified as a Chartered Financial Analyst. So that was the third career. And then my fourth career was in the Nuskin business as a distributor. Now, at that time, there was really no reason for me to go into that. But it was more a why not rather than a why. I did that part-time, and after about 7 years, I decided to give up my professional engineering licenses. I decided to give up my finance licenses and focus fully on the Nuskin business. Now, in that business, I rose to the highest PIN title, which is called Team Elite, and I now sit on the Southeast Asia board of the core leaders. Now, I consider that my biggest success, because why? All the previous jobs were about, everything was depending on me. It was 100% my own effort. But, with the Nuskin business, it's what I call leveraged income, where my success depends not on me, but on the success of other people. And that really gives me great satisfaction.
With all your successes, you can obviously retire anytime you want, but you obviously haven't. So can you share with us why you haven't done so and what drives you till today?
Yes, that's a good question, because when I started work, all I could think about was how soon can I stop? So what happened? Well, when I did my second career shift from engineering to financial planning, it was midlife, and I remember reading a book by Bob Buford called Halftime. And in that book, he talked about from success to significance. Then later, when I attended the Anthony Robbins training, Tony Robbins talked about the 6 human needs: certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, significance, growth, and contribution. And the ultimate human need was contribution. When I retire, I stop serving people. So it's a new concept of retiring now. If I want to continue serving people as an old person, I've got to, in a sense, retire, retread my tires so that I have more life to keep going. And, recently I've become a grandfather, and, a grandfather doesn't stop contributing. I realize now, I thought I'm done with looking after people, but it's a whole new start, and I have to have more energy, more wisdom than ever before. It never stopped learning, never stopped growing.
James, can you share what role do you currently hold in your Nuskin business?
Sure. Well, my business is in a distribution of beauty and wellness products for Nuskin enterprises. And my role is to develop teams around the world. And I guess it's like a family tree. I raise kids, I empower them to raise their kids, and then their kids will multiply. So it's like, it's multiplying down the line. And the focus is on developing leadership, multiplying leaders who will go on to go and multiply leaders. It's quality and quantity.
James, for as long as I've known you, you've loved outdoor sports and you're very active. Can you share more why health and fitness is so important to you?
Yeah, sure. Well, you're referring to physical health. Okay. And I've thought long and hard about it. I actually have 3 P's as far as physical health is concerned. The first is productivity, because your health determines how you use that 24 hours a day. That is fixed for everyone. Everyone has 24 hours a day. Your ability to think, your ability to move fast, and how well you do will determine your output or productivity. Okay. Now, but that's the official answer. Because my wife will tell you that the real reason is that I don't like her to beat me. And when I'm out there stand-up paddling, I really can't stand it when a lady is moving faster than me. So the first thing is productivity. But the second P is pain. Sickness is painful and it can largely be prevented. You can have all the money, all the time, but when you're in pain, you just want to crawl and die. So you want to really avoid that pain. I want to avoid that pain. And the third piece is just prevention. When you're young, it's not a concern at all. But people grow old, okay, and that means health deteriorates. So we want to slow down or even reverse this aging. That's why physical health is important. Now, what about fitness? Fitness is actually, to me, fitness is pushing to achieve my personal best. It's different from just health. It involves training of the mind. It's the resilience of the entrepreneur. Because when you're out there pushing, you really want to quit many times. And one person who's influenced me a lot is David Goggins. If I can read a quote from him, he says, "Life will always be the most grueling endurance sport. And when you train hard, get uncomfortable, and callous your mind, you will become a more versatile competitor, trained to find a way forward no matter what." And so he says, I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. And the fitness is the vehicle, is the tool I use to train my mind to not give up.
James, for as long as I've known you, you've been climbing mountains. What would be your proudest moment and on which mountain?
Well, I don't climb to conquer a mountain. I climb to get fit. So I don't have an achievement when I've actually summited. A climbing trip may take 4 days or sometimes 4 weeks. But that's actually just the tip of the iceberg of months and months of hard training. which I otherwise wouldn't do if I hadn't had that objective of climbing a mountain. So I don't have a proudest moment, but every time I summit, or there have been times I don't summit, I'm grateful that I actually made it that far. The weather, my health allowed me to actually get so far. I'll give you an example. When I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa, that was in 2016. I'd been having a severely osteoarthritic hip that on normal days, I can barely even walk to the toilet. I was in terrible pain. But I had to go ahead with that trip because, the whole family was going. We had already paid a lot of money for that trip. And, it was an 8-day climb. And I was actually in the leading group to reach the mountain with my kids who were 30 years older. So there's a tremendous sense of relief, accomplishment in just overcoming the obstacles in the way of getting there. What I do is I actually love the camping. So for me, it's literally the journey. You've heard people say it's not the destination, it's the journey. I love the walk to the summit. I love the camping. I love all that. And frankly, at the summit, I'm half dead, and I realize it's still only halfway. I still got to come back, So it's the journey, it's the training with friends that's really, really important, because when you think of it, that's where we spend most of the time, isn't it, on the journey. And we don't always get to the summit. That's okay.
James, you lead a big team in Nuskin. Can you talk more about leadership and what makes a great leader?
Oh, wow, this is a huge subject, but let me try to make it simple. First, the definition of a leader is simple. You're a leader when you have followers. Second, the job of a leader is simple. Give people something to follow. Third, the focus of a leader is simple. It's not on the people. It's on himself. It's on me. I'm what they are following. I'm the lead to leadership, as John Maxwell says. So the first person I lead is myself. The first person I grow is myself. What you work on depends on your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm basically a controller. So my challenge muscles are more developed than my relationship muscles. So I've been working on being more gentle, more understanding, more patient, working for the last 20 years. Okay, what makes a great leader? Is it medals, awards, money, number of Facebook friends, number of TikTok followers? I think a great leader is someone who has impacted lives, improved lives of other people, a servant. As a great man, Jesus said, I came not to be served, but to serve. And a servant never retires. We're talking about retirement.
Lastly, James, can you share with our audience the power of mindset and focus?
Mindset is thought. Every action starts with a thought. Mindset is why you start and how you keep going. Mindset is key because it's how I see things. Either I see things as I see a cup as half empty or half full. Which perspective moves you forward? Which perspective serves you? Now, people say your past determines your present. Actually, you have full creativity and control over your past. Your mindset determines how you choose to view your past. As a victim, this bad thing happened to me, or as a victor, this happened for me, thank you. What about focus? Your focus is your attention. What you focus on expands you. If you want to grow, focus on challenge, not comfort. For the large part of my adult life, until 50, I never set goals. I was always happy with just enough. But things changed after I joined the Nuskin business, and I went to leadership development workshops with Asia Works. I saw that I could, and I actually wanted to be a contribution to my community. So my focus has changed, which is why I need to change my mindset if I want to continue to be a contribution. I have to, as Anthony Robbins says, keep growing.
Thank you, James, for such an enlightening conversation. I really appreciate it and I've learned so much.
Thank you.
And guys, I hope that you have learned something too from the wise words of Dr. James Chia. It's not every day that you get to have an interview with someone that has done so many things in his career and he's still going at the age of 69 and more. Guys, this is the end of the interview. Please give a like to this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can join our family and you don't miss out on any of our videos. See you soon in the next interview. Bye!